This program contains crazy material, including offensive language. Listening discretion is advised.
Welcome to Avio's Padded Room Podcast. So put on your straitjackets and join Big Jim and Brad Storm as they probe inside the mind of a new guest each week. So strap up and let's do this.
What is that old saying? A story is worth 1,000 words. Well, our guest on Avio's Padded Room Podcast knows all about impactful storytelling and optimizing communication. He has over 30 years of experience working with beloved brands across the media landscape, both in front of and behind the camera. With his success in broadcast digital ad sales, he's honored the calling to lead with his voice via compelling executive coaching, public speaking, and voiceover specialization. Our guest has been featured on Your Motivational Monday, The Be Kind Show, Neighborhood Spotlights, Friday All-Stars Network, and Go Get It, to name a few. It's time to get strapped in the padded room while running our voiceovers to the finish line as the host for Your Message Received and owner of Duffin Media, John Duffin, gets locked in and mic'd up. Yes!
Yeah!
Oh my God, I haven't done that in a long time. Yeah!
Well, that felt good. That felt good, didn't
God.
it? That's awesome, brother.
I don't think I've ever been announced with that degree of energy and coolness. You just made my life, let alone made my day.
I love it.
It's great to be here, guys.
Oh, I needed that. I need this podcast in my life, John.
We all do. We all do. You helped me a ton with that. Thank you. Great to be here.
It's a pleasure having you on the show, man. I followed you on social media, and you really have blown me away with your presence in front of a camera, which we'll touch on later.
Mm-hmm.
But first things first,
Yeah.
you have a 30-year career
Yeah.
in broadcasting and broadcast sales. But I want to take you back to when you were younger.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, what really got you into broadcasting and made you think like, I have a pretty good voice?
At this time, I'm going to ask you to fasten your seatbelts.
So, two things. Number one, I have two sisters that led the charge. They're both younger than me.
Okay.
They were both in broadcast sales, one in television, one in radio. They were both in, Maureen and Denise. And they were in the field before me. I called them then and still do, the gold standard. Everyone loved them. The clients wanted to work with them. And then you had the older brother, me, who was kind of banging his head against the wall and not really sure where to go or what to do with anything, let alone with that. But I just remembered that when we had a lot of mutual friends. And so I was actually in the finance side at the time, and my sisters were in the ad sale.
How old were you?
So, this was in my 20s because I didn't enter the field until I was, probably 30 years old.
Okay.
Like just under 30 years old. And all I remember was I was way more interested with the mutual friends that were talking ad sales, media, TV, radio. I was way more interested in those conversations than I was in my own field, finance and what have you. So I broke in, tried not to break anything. Broke into the field, didn't want to step on toes. I didn't want to wreck a reputation.
Yeah.
And that's where it began.
Now, pinpoint the things
Yeah.
that you didn't like with your current job that you had,
Mm-hmm.
and as opposed to broadcast ads and sales and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
What did you like?
What I didn't like was the finance part was just painful to me. Like
I hated accounting.
It was right.
Right. It sounds painful.
Accounting, I was horrible at accounting.
It was financial, right? And
Yeah.
even like if your proficiency is good, bad, or whatever, I found no interest. Now I was on like the financial sales and management side, right?
Yeah.
I just couldn't stand the idea of basically what I felt like was navigating people's checkbooks. A, I didn't feel overly qualified to do it. And B, I just felt like a wreck if one thing went awry. Like if an investment went down $1, I was a wreck. So I just remember being so miserable at the end of that ride. that I would have basically done anything. And so I had no experience in the field, but I had two sisters. They didn't get me the job, but they made the connections available to me.
That's key.
And this is it. The last thing I wanted to do was, as I learned early, it's everything, because what I found, like, for me was I just didn't want to be the guy that was, again, somebody's brother.
Oh, yeah.
But that's exactly what I was when I entered in with them.
Right.
I remember for myself, one of the joys of that time, those 30 years, was in the very beginning, I loved my sister to death. And I, as I said, didn't want to get in her way. But I also, was trying to create or forge my own identity. You know, I didn't just want to be Maureen's brother or Denise's brother.
Right.
Every time I would go into a client meeting, somebody would say, "Oh, how's your sisters?"
Oh, for crying out loud.
Right. And in the beginning, that was weird to me because I felt like, oh, you're just looking past me. What I came to realize when everything made more sense was that was one of the coolest things I ever heard. Like, that to me, it's that sense of, I love that. I love that sense of none of us growing up in Northeast Philadelphia thinking we were going to be doing any of this. And then we were.
Yeah. So
you would ask me too, in terms of like the voice part. My first television job was, went from account executive to director of sales for an independent television station. And
you were in your 30s?
Yeah. And so because it was a startup station, there were a ton of missing pieces. So I got the chance to do all sorts of things that I was wildly unqualified to be doing, but there was nobody else around.
Well, that's
but
true.
There was nobody else, you know what I mean? So you just get dumped into situations, and they needed a promo. We were carrying some college basketball.
Okay.
So they needed a promo to be done, and hey, would you want to do it? And I remember thinking, yeah, sure. Okay, fine.
What is that, by the way? You're like,
yeah. And sure, whatever it is. And sure, right, exactly. You'll need to tell me way more than that. But I was like the contractor that comes to your house and you're like, have you ever fixed? And they're like, oh, yeah. Well, that was me.
Crosses his fingers.
It doesn't get fixed. But for myself, I can remember the rush. I remember the rush of how it felt. I remember the energy surge that I had. And I remember getting pretty good feedback.
Yeah.
But I always felt like, okay, so that was that. That was that. And now I'll go back to the sales and sales management. And then the career continued.
How did the ad go?
And the ad went great.
I mean, how did it go?
Oh, literally, it's horrible. Not horrible, crazy. I still remember.
That's what's good.
This fall, hey, Saturday nights are St. Joe's basketball. Join the Hawks every Saturday night, 7 p.m. as we cover the Atlantic 10 game of the week. Only on WGTW TV 48.
That's beautiful.
Home of Atlantic 10 basketball.
Nice.
I love it.
Love it. Love it.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
I literally pulled that out of the left field. I laughed because I'm like, no one has ever asked me that. And I never thought I'd recall it. That was pretty much it.
We do this show. I like to live through you, man. I like to live through your journey. And that's what's beautiful.
Yeah.
Shoot, my first one was a small job. Most of it was in Indian names. Had a hell of a time. I was like, man, I don't know, VOs for, voice acting's for me. This sucks. But I muscled through it somehow. I'm surprised they actually paid me for that crap.
Yeah.
So when you talk about, you did another episode where somebody was bringing up the coaches they had, and one of those coaches was J. Michael Collins. And I remember it was a medical narration class that J. Michael Collins ran. We both, I think, concluded that medical sales was probably not my niche because I mispronounced pretty much everything, which is funny because I feel like I own half the prescriptions in my medicine cabinet at home. And it's and I couldn't say any of them properly. So, no, I got off easy. College basketball, whatever, I got off easy. And I just remember I liked it,
And so, like you said, you're going back and forth. You're going back to ads.
Yeah.
And you were doing the promo spots.
Mm-hmm.
And you really, it's like when I was doing ring announcer, I really felt the energy.
Yeah.
Didn't have to go to by 9 to 5. I'm like, oh, God. But how did you make that more of a consistent aspect of your life?
Remind me, by the way, I will share my brush with greatness in regards to the ring announcer part. If I'll just share it now. So one of the things when I was saying with the independent station especially, where I was put into all sorts of places I wasn't qualified for. I would tag along at the programming conferences, and one of them happened to be in New Orleans. So I remember Hulk Hogan, and I believe it was well, at the time, WWF, but I was going to say, I believe it's before they went over, before they made the switch over.
Before WrestleMania 1.
Right. It was, well, I think it was after that.
That was like 2000. That was around 2000, 1999, somewhere around there. And all the
right
wrestling
there.
people
Like,
can yell
really?
at me if I'm wrong, but
You're really close to there. So I remember they were all at the programming conference, and I'm fixated. And they're all in full regalia. Hulk Hogan's got the yellow bathing suit, you know what I mean, and trunks and all that.
Yeah.
And Macho Man's got the feather boa, and I'm following them around like the biggest groupies. Apparently, though, I had way too much fun at one of the social hours like that night. And I remember the next day, another colleague of mine's like, John, were you drinking a lot last night? And I'm like, all blood red faced at the time. And it's like, you were kind of hitting on Hulk Hogan a lot. I can't confirm or deny any of it. All I know is he didn't.
Something, brother.
Thank God he didn't like, you know what I mean? I'd have been dead 40 times.
it gave you the big leg drop. It would be over.
But I was eating a Slim Jim with it.
Right? You just nailed both of them. But I remember like a groupie following them around. Here's what I remember. Flash forward, I went from the independent station to Tribune to Univision for 12 and a half years. And towards the end of the run, and I got to do a ton. I'm wildly grateful for all of that. All I knew, though, was I was getting asked a lot. Strangers, colleagues, people in coffee shops would have you. Do you, are you, have you, and it all had to do with my voice. And typically I would just push people back. Nope, I'm in sales, I'm in management. Nope.
Why? Why did you do that?
Great question.
Was it fear?
Because I identified, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, well, I belong where I am, not where I could be. And that's one of the things that eventually started to shift. And then it starts to gnaw at you if you're me. Like, well, why don't you? What would happen if, say, you did? What if you took the leap? What have you? And I remember I was more and more interested in all of that. And toward the end of those 30 years, we bring up somebody, Corey Disson, be my first name check, like in terms of all that, right? And so I'm wearing his Go Get It shirt underneath the garb here, right?
Yeah.
So Corey Disson and I met at a Burger King for breakfast. So we really spared no expense. Spared no expense that day.
What'd you guys have?
Nothing good.
Onion rings.
It was coffee and something greasy. And I remember that. But what I also remember, he was launching his business. And we were talking and I was talking and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was getting this very strong thoughts like, I need to do this. I need to see if I can make this go. And I didn't want to wait any longer. I'd waited all my life and I'm no kid. And so it was like, to me, it's like, okay, an opportunity came. And in 2019, I could still remember, I'm on the phone. My job ended with Univision and that was fine.
How come? Because of COVID?
Nah, it was more just that my position was eliminated and I was literally running out of gas in regards to feeling I could do any more. And I wanted to do this. So
right.
It just kind of naturally ended. And then I can remember thinking, well, here we go. So the job ended. I happened to be in a hotel room in Hawaii. My sister happened to live there at the time.
Oh,
right. So
wow.
I'm sitting in a hotel room in Hawaii and I got Corey on the line and he's like finishing. We're getting the website ready to go and we're ready to go live and all that stuff. And it was like, boom. And that's when Duffin Media was launched in a hotel room in Honolulu, Hawaii. And that's where it began.
Wow.
Man. And that's where it began. So it's technically we're a couple of months from 4 years. Yeah, we're a couple months from 4 years.
Yeah, I remember watching you all of a sudden exploded. It's like, who's this guy? This is awesome. He's okay. And I kept watching and I was like, oh, okay. Nice.
I think too with Corey, he was one of the first people we interviewed on our show.
Absolutely.
And I think he might have reached out to us and like, hey, is that how it worked, Jim?
Yeah, he did.
Remember.
He emailed and was talking about coming on the show. Or like, and we were like, hell yeah.
He's a motivational guy, but you are a motivational guy as well. And, like you said, you started working in voiceover in 2019.
Yeah, correct.
And, we all suffer. We all stumble over the hurdles.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes. It's just going to happen if you keep going. You're like, what is one of the biggest hurdles that you faced and that you've had to pick yourself back up from?
So I can still remember I had recorded my first commercial in the business before I actually went live with Duffin Media in Hawaii. So I remember it's all done. My first paid spot was for lead dog advertising, but Barbara Valentine was the creator out in California, and the campaign was called Saving Mulholland Drive. It was an advocacy campaign
I saw that.
based in Los Angeles, right? So I did the voice for it, and it was great, and it was. I remember being directed, so it was my first directed session from here in Philadelphia and all that stuff, and it worked out well.
Yeah.
Then I get a call from Barbara saying, oh, we have to do a couple of pickup lines. And I'm like, what's that?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Sure. Could you, what's a pickup line? So she tells me,
Hi there.
and it was right. It was like 3 words, but I'm in a hotel room and I got nothing. I have nothing on me.
Oh, no.
Like, I literally have nothing. No mic, no nothing.
This is your first job? You had a directed session in your first job?
First job.
Wow.
And after the directed session, I'm now in Hawaii, and now they need to do a pickup, and I'm like, I got nothing on me. No mic, no nothing. So I had befriended somebody in Philadelphia. Lisa Leonard is her name.
Mm-hmm.
Does a lot of voiceover work, and I can remember her telling me a story about the closet and pillow forts and all that stuff, which, I mean, right, if you don't exactly know what that is, it just sounds weird.
Going to be
but the
MacGyver.
fact is, for grown-ups, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So, but I'm remember to turn the air conditioning off.
Yep.
So I am now in a boiling hot closet in Hawaii, doors closed. I got blankets and pillows all over myself, looking like some old lady, all bundled up, tub's so very cold. And
Hello, man.
and now I gotta be like, okay, do the lines, and I'm in my mobile phone.
Oh, your phone.
And every time I do it, I move, and you hear the blankets and pillows like. And then I think at one point, and Barbara Valentine is one of the nicest people you'll ever encounter, and she's and I'm trying to read the line and talk to her on the mobile phone. She was so nice and patient. We got it. And it's like, and it was done, and I heard the finished spot. It was beautiful. But what I was able to overcome was mainly the sense of, oh my God, I just can't do it. Oh, well, I guess the job's over. I guess, I'll never work in this town again.
Right, I lost that client.
Yeah. And so what I was able to overcome is the sense that you can fix things. You can do things. You are able to move things forward, especially when people want you to. And that's one of the things I found early on in this business and all the way through is that people do want to succeed.
Oh, yeah.
So they help.
Yeah. You have a pretty good skill set for yourself. And
Thank
I think maybe one of the things that you do really well is network, because you're talking to all these different people. You even talked to Hulk Hogan, for crying out loud.
I don't think he loved it so much. I did. And I was a fan.
Yeah, networking.
Oh, brother. It's so true. And now I'm saying brother, like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, brother.
You got to talk to. Right, thank brother.
You got to wear many hats. You started doing that early on. When I was in the fire business, they said, you can't multitask.
Yeah.
I was only 26 at the time, and I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to do multiple things at the same time. I was like, I got to do one thing at a time. But it's so true nowadays, especially in broadcast media, in voiceover. if you have like an enormous bank account, you don't have to do everything. But if you don't, and you're limited, you have to learn how to do everything.
Oh my God. You just said it, which is what did I overcome? The sense that I was so privileged. It sounds so entitled, but it's true. When I was part of the field, you had support people in every direction.
Mm-hmm.
The technical crowd, the AV crowd. I don't know what the hell they were paying us for, because the truth is, literally, it was like, oh, they'll set up our computer and they'll set up the cameras and they'll get this and
yeah, I am the
I
talent.
do this.
I am the talent.
I am the talent. I am the alleged talent. I squirt this.
That was me too for a while too in wrestling. I got knocked down quite a few notches.
right.
Believe me.
So where I got lucky, so I know nothing. And I'm like, I have no technical ability whatsoever. It was recommended to me that George the Tech Whittam, call him.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
So I do, right? So he set up the studio. I learned by getting knocked back a lot of times between getting that done. So where I've been able to, you're right, it's by the good graces of a lot of people. And the one thing that I can say, in addition to all the coaches that I've worked with, which thank God for them, is that ability to be able to have the guts to at least ask.
Right.
That's all. That I don't consider myself a gutsy person, but at least I know that I can say Mark Cashman, Kelly McGee, Everett Oliver, Tom Pinto, and a lot of other good people, Scott Parkin. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do this. I need help, right? And so
I need help.
It's a field that I keep learning where, again, people want to help you, And that's what gets me, and that gives me the guts to do the things that I do.
It's a beautiful thing.
Let the games begin! Let the games begin! Let the games begin!
We know what that sound means. That's right, it's time for another round of a VO's Padded Improv. Today we have a game show script for you. So when you're ready, the mic is yours.
Welcome back to Dead or Not Dead.
Yeah.
Now, Jim, you've turned down the Crypt Keeper's offer of $10,000.
Yes, yeah.
I can really feel the positive energy here in the Dead or Not Dead Crypt tonight.
Yeah.
So will you please choose your next numbered coffin?
Yeah, I choose coffin number 8. The one in front of Brad over there. The one in front of Brad.
Oh, man.
Okay, Brad, would you please open that coffin up?
Oh, sure thing. Sure thing.
Oh, please.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hey. The energy is definitely good here tonight. We want more of those. We want more of those. Okay, Jim, we're down to our last coffin.
Oh.
Oh, man, okay.
Which one are you going to choose?
Oh, Lord, okay, I thought about this. I'm going to choose my lucky number. I'm going to choose 13.
Ooh.
My lucky number 13. My lucky number 13. God, help us, Jesus. We got this, please. Lord, pray to Jesus. The one in front of Bruno.
Well, 13 is unlucky for some, but for you, it could mean taking home a huge amount of money.
Oh, Lord, I need that money.
Now, I want everyone to think positive thoughts. I want everybody to think dead. Come on, everyone. Dead. That's it. Come on, people at home. On the couch. Think positive. Dead. Bruno, would you please open that coffin?
Oh, dead. Oh, Jesus.
All right, everybody, stay calm. Don't panic. Don't panic. Panic. I've got it. For the love of God.
Yes.
That was crazy.
That was fun. That was awesome.
Dead or not
I
dead.
hope I did that all right for you guys.
Oh,
That
you
was
did great.
That was fun. I always love these.
You
This
did
is
great.
so
Did you
fun.
have fun, John?
Absolutely, I did, man. Guys, thanks for that. That was freaking awesome.
I said, no, that's all that matters. Is as long as you having fun. That's what it's about. No stress, no
Yeah.
pressure. Just enjoy it, man, for sure.
It's no joke. It's like, for me, these are the reminders of what a joy this field is, that sense of escape. I think one of the coolest parts that I've come to learn is good day, bad day, stressful situation, bad situation. It's amazing how, like, literally a script as fun as that, as easy, as cool as that, like, you can just throw yourself in and everything else gets easier, better, cooler, funner, you know?
But you know what? It's easy for you because you put the time in to be really good at it. It's not going to be easy. This wouldn't be easy if you don't spend time in your booth, if you don't put the time out reading out loud and, trying to hone into your skills and get lots of coaching with good people that can solve your problems or at least assist.
Oh, absolutely. They do a lot more than assist. And if they did nothing more than, like, you don't necessarily just need, like, attaboys or, pats on the butt. It's more like it's the sense that to give you the confidence to take risks, right? Everett Oliver, I talked about, like I don't consider animation a strong suit for me. And the reason I don't is, I'm not trying to sell myself short. The reason I don't is that staying in a specific character for an extended period of time, to me, is one of the things that I find more challenging. I find shorter forms easier for me to work with. But it's him that was one of the people that taught me just to be able to, like, fully let yourself go.
Yeah.
Picture the situation, pay attention to the direction.
Not to mention, establish your character's background.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put together the character in your mind. You got to feel like, how old is this character? Where are they at? What are they doing? Why are they there? When are they there? I mean, these are important things.
Brad, my first I took an acting course early on, and I'll never forget, that's what we did. Donald McKenna was the teacher, and that's exactly what we did, is that you would have the class, you would have the routine, the characters and stuff, and then we would all disappear. The whole class would be like an hour, right?
Yeah.
And I would say for 40 minutes of the hour, we were literally by ourselves, literally listening to some sense of place for what the character is or where they are. And then you would literally sit and create details.
Right.
Nobody was looking for lines. It was the details. Who are they with? Who loves them? What block are they on? What's their house like? What's their car like?
Yeah.
What put them in a bad mood? What was the reason? That sort of thing. And I never forgot how important that was.
I have to get it put in my brain all the time, reinforced, because sometimes, like, if you go on, like, different sites, they want you to rush and get your audition in. If you don't make the time limit. It's disappeared. I can't do it anymore because I took too much time. I would take that time regardless.
I think you have to.
Because what's the use of sending it out when you're not going to probably get it if you didn't do any homework on what you're doing.
I agree with you. And not to mention, I think there's also the part of, say you don't get that specific job, I think people can hear prep. I do. I think people can hear and feel prep.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you didn't get that one specific job, but you'll get the opportunity down the line and they'll remember, they definitely tried. They definitely put out. And so, yeah, to me, it matters. I don't, in the heat of a moment, or like you just described, a rush audition, I can forget to do that. Then I can guarantee you, every time I forget to do that, I never get the booking.
Right.
It's almost magical in the opposite, right? I never get the booking. It's when you take a couple of minutes just to get yourself centered, everything is different,
Yeah, and I think if we just get out of our own way,
right,
then the possibilities are limitless. I I mean, that's I know that's my problem. I get in my own way, and I know other people do too. So once we just get out of the way and just let it go, I think that's when we'll be successful.
Yep.
And speaking of which, we got to touch on this before the show wraps up.
Sure.
Confidence in front of the camera and believing what you are saying. Now, if you haven't followed John on social media, you could do so through Facebook at Duffin Media, on Twitter at John Duffin, or John M. Duffin, all right? And then on YouTube at Duffin Media. We want to go follow him there. And look at this guy in front of the camera. Not only is he really good in front of the camera, but he goes to these really cool places. Why don't you talk about that?
And he's a sharp dresser too.
Well, that's very kind because, like I said, you try,
Yeah.
Part of it was the background where I came from. Like I said, I'm the one wearing a suit almost all the time for 30 years. But what I was going to say is you just talked about getting out of your own way, right? And one of the things I was going to say is that was not easy for me. I don't know, where that confidence was instilled. I think there's a lot of good people that encourage you. That helps me a lot, But I was the shy, dweeby, bookwormy kid growing up. I always was walking around like I had some deep, dark secret. I didn't come out of... Right. And they were never that interesting. Well, here's my deep, dark secret. Here's one, we'll say. So I couldn't come out of the closet until I was technically 40 years old.
Oh, geez.
The rough part of that was that very few people were surprised. That was the really rough part.
We already know, John. What the hell?
Oh my God. If I had a nickel for every time I heard somebody say that, right? But you're carrying around this sense of self-importance.
That's gotta be tough.
Right?
That's gotta be tough.
So one of the things that I would say is that when people give you the encouragement, I've had people in my life do that. You brought up a weekly show that I'm on, your Motivational Monday, and my partner on that, Chad Levine, was somebody who called me. I happen to do, I am a licensed realtor, but where I really feel like I shine is doing the voiceover for high-end real estate videos. That's to me
we need to
what
talk,
I love,
John.
and I love to do it.
We got to talk.
And I'm happy to. And I remember he called me. Chad called me one time. I was doing a video for an open house, and it was I'm a big bucket of nerves and frayed edges and jagged nerves, and no one's going to show up, and this sucks, and I'm going to lock myself out of the house and all that sort of thing, right? And he's called me. He's I really like what you're doing on social media. So I don't tell you that to pat myself on the back. I tell you that because I sure as hell wasn't believing that day, right? And so my suggestion is it takes nothing to throw somebody a legit compliment. It takes nothing. Make it legit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's all. I mean, but just it takes nothing. If you think somebody's doing an okay job, let them know, because you don't know how that's going to pivot and change them. So now people will say the nice things you've said to me that I feel very confident speaking on camera. Well, the expensive therapy helped.
Heck yeah,
The medication.
Oh, that helps even more. But the thing is, it's the encouragement of other people and the taking the risks and all that sort of thing. And so I feel like between the training, the encouragement, and all that, I love doing that. I've been able to morph. I was speaking to a colleague this afternoon. I'll get a chance again to do a public speaking event this coming spring. And I had never done that in my life. I had never spoken. Okay. I did sales presentations for a lot of years, but I've never been a host MC, hence the game show host. I'll have to lean into that next time, right?
Perfect.
Oh my God, do it again. I need,
Perfect.
See?
Perfecto.
Oh my God, Brad, I worked at Univision for 12 and a half years, and my giveaway as to why I was considered Johnny Anglo was because I couldn't roll my R's. Try as I may, I literally would just spit all over myself. And so...
Welcome to Univision.
And then I'd be oh my God. You know what was bad? I would speak in Espanol, and the people that were Latino would answer me back in English, and that's how you knew you weren't doing a great job.
Purely bilingual.
Yeah, boom. So That's where it's like I've taken on things, and mostly it's because people have encouraged me to do it, you know? And that's what I would say to anybody, which is
That's beautiful.
whether it's the podcast, whether it is when I'm speaking with people, it's not pushing people into an area. It's not pushing people into the center lane of a highway if they don't know how to drive. It's not that. But when you see a skill with somebody, let them know. Just let them know. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, let them know, because you never know where it's going to take them. I never thought in my wildest dreams, when I was in the field that I was in, loving all of it until the end, when I just was getting tired and it was starting to feel like a kind of a burnout situation. But for most of that time in the ad sales space, I was thrilled to be there. I never thought I belonged there, but there I was. And now, 4 years in, having a great conversation with you guys, I never thought I'd be identified as a voice person. I never thought that, you know? Or speaking in front of a camera. I believe, Brad, the number one technique trick that I would share with anybody about the camera, and you identified the prep work. That's why I centered you as it. Have a sense you're not talking to the sky. You're not talking to a lens. It's like, who specifically in your mind are you speaking to, and what's going on around them? And I think when you have that as like a hook,
a base,
just a base, you just need the base. And then it's like you can have these conversations and feel comfortable, because talking to nobody is brutal.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're just literally just talking, you're the crazy guy walking up and down the block, right? But if you have some sense of a base, that, you know what, I'm speaking to so-and-so about this, and it matters because of this, it becomes so much easier. You know?
Nowadays, social media is so widespread that we don't think anything of it when we see somebody walking or dancing in front of their phone in the middle of the damn street, because it's probably going on TikTok or something. But for me, you're a complete inspiration.
I think likewise too, man.
I wanted to let you know that, you know, as far as, you know, you inspired to get, you know, in front of, you know, like I said, that camera and all that and stuff like that. So I appreciate you.
We appreciate you, man.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying that. You guys have done a great job with this show. I appreciate right back, for God's sake. It's to me, just the fact, listening to the show, to me, you have brought on a ton of different people from a ton of different directions. The number one thing that I notice is you let people be themselves, which I love. And secondly,
it's easier.
Right. You don't hammer a point home. You make it fun, but also the encouragement of reminding people of the basics, to being in front of people, to practice, to get the coaching, all that sort of thing that I can forget about. Like for me, if I'm having a bad day, I'm all up in my head and I'm like, this is brutal and I'm awful and blah, blah, you know, and just listening to your show, the reminder of really skilled people reminding me, well, you asked the right question. You're welcome. That it's like, it's the practice. You've got to hustle.
You got to practice.
You got to practice. You've got to hustle. You've got to network. Otherwise,
stay humble.
Right. And it's the best field I've ever been in, where it relates to everyone really wants to help each other. Stay humble. Damn right. So thank you. I really appreciate both of you.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming on our show. And, you know, time has flown by as usual. I mean,
We've reached a final conclusion on item 9.
Damn. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we know it's a good show when it flies by, and we're like, damn, gotta go now. You want to make a shout out to anybody in particular, your social media? Go for it.
Well, look, shout out to my family, always, always, always. Those two sisters I lived with in the beginning. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I'm grateful that we're all still alive, healthy. My mom is an inspiration at approaching 94 years old.
Yeah.
And started acting. She'll tell that story another time. Started acting when she was 75.
Wow.
And, yeah. So I get my guts. I get my support. I get my lifeline from my family. For all the cool people that are nice enough to comment and like, you find me on Instagram at John Duffin Media, Facebook, Twitter, you know, the podcast that I host, Your Message Received, which you can find pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. Subscribe, like, share, do whatever you need to do. And for all the people that have helped me, I've name-checked a lot of people, and I promise you I left a ton of people out, too. A ton of people. No, I remain wildly grateful to everybody who has helped me, picked me up, dusted me off, all those sort of things. It means the world to me. So, and for you guys, like I said, thanks for, just letting me tell my story. It means the world to me.
No problem. Jim?
Absolutely, guys. That was awesome. Website is bigjimmedia.com. Facebook at Big Jim Media. And YouTube is really now at Big Jim Media. Apparently, it wasn't for a little bit. And I didn't know that. But now it is. So, yeah, other than that, how about you, Brad?
I haven't done this in a while, but I'll give it a go. Brad Storm VO on Twitter, Brad Storm Lanou on LinkedIn, Brad Storm on YouTube, and Brad Storm Instagram, TikTok. I mean, you name it. Just look about Brad Storm.
Brad Storm, I'm thinking.
Yes, sir. When it rains, it pours. And you know what? The VO's Padded Room podcast is on YouTube as well. It's also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Ghana. Yeah, you know it. Ghana's a big hit in India. And so you're going to want to subscribe, like, and share with the world.
And remember, when the shit, hold on. Damn it. I keep. Oh, shit. All right. And remember, when the day gets long and shit gets real, you gotta
punch every day in the face. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show.